One Piece originally came out in 1999, and now after almost 20 years, it's as good as ever. The story, the world, the characters, the fights, the entirety of One Piece is still at the very top, especially with the new Wano Country arc in manga. Welcome back to ViniiTube, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 best fights of one of my favorite series, One Piece. At number 10, we have Zoro versus Ryuma. We're starting off with everyone's favorite sword-wielding Straw Hat. Zoro's had some bad luck with his swords breaking, and now for the third time in search for a new sword, he's found himself an amazing piece of Wano craftsmanship attached to a dead man, that corpse being Ryuma, the zombie samurai. Ryuma is our first glimpse of the Wano country, the island inspired by Edo period Japan. It's a land full of samurai warriors, ninjas, and inequality. This fight is well animated, full of amazing techniques, and the respect between the warriors is what really drives it home for me. Next up at number 9, it's Luffy versus Arlong. Arlong thinks fishermen's a superior race, especially because of the hate he suffered under the rule of humans. His tattoo of a sun's being made to hide the slave mark he had after being imprisoned by the celestial dragons. Even for a fishman, Arlong has impressive strength, being of the shark breed. Under and above water, there are few that can match his strength in the East Blue, except Luffy. This fight is the first one in which Luffy really suffers and bleeds. Even though it aired 19 years ago, it still remains one of my favorite One Piece moments. Moving on to number 8, it's Strawhats versus Oars. Oars is a zombie that is 4 times larger than any ordinary giant. 500 years after his death, Moria found him and kept his body for 10 years. Hogback repaired his body, and together with Luffy, Moria finally found a worthy shadow to put into his body. Luffy's will instantly showed up when Oars woke up, demanding to eat every last piece of food Moria had and proclaiming that he will be Pirate King. What makes this fight special for me is the combined effort of all the Straw Hat pirates to defeat Oars. To this day, it's the only time the Straw Hats all work together to defeat a single foe. At number 7, it's Zoro versus Mr. One. As Luffy's second in charge, Zoro usually gets to face the second strongest in the enemy's group. In the Alabasta arc, while Luffy was trying to figure out how water works, Zoro was busy trying to work out how to cut steel. Zoro's opponent in this arc was Crocodile's right-hand man Daz Bones, aka Mr. One, with a bounty of 75 million berries, so just 6 million below Crocodile's 81 million bounty. He's the user of Dice Devil Fruit that allows him to create strong steel blades out of any part of his body. So he's literally a man of steel, basically the perfect opponent for Zoro not to fight. But stubborn Zoro decides to put his grit against Mr. One, and the result is Zoro becoming a man that can cut steel.
前がどこの誰だろうと俺はお前を超えていく
At number 6, it's Luffy versus Crocodile. Crocodile was the first warlord of the sea to fight Luffy, and the first enemy to defeat him not just once, but multiple times. He was the first Logia Devil fruit user we met, Logia being one of the, if not the, most powerful devil fruit types to exist. Crocodile ate sand fruit to become a man of sand, so any attack goes through him like a hand through sand, which is why Luffy struggles against him. One of my favorite moments in the show is the first blow Luffy lands against Crocodile's smug face. Ultimately, this fight showed some of the creative ways devil fruit fights can take and the interesting interactions between them. Next on the list at number 5, it's Luffy versus Enel. I know many people don't like the Skypiea arc, but I personally did. I love the way Enel's introduced as this literal god that can call lightning from the sky like Zeus, as well as the country of Skypiea and its internal conflict between two opposing factions of the nation. Enel has eaten the Rumble fruit that allows him to control and transform into electricity. As I said, all Logia fruits are pretty much overpowered. Unluckily for Enel, Luffy is made of rubber, and rubber doesn't conduct electricity, so he can just beat him down like any other opponent. Enel takes it as if he's never been hit before in his life, which perhaps he really hasn't. If it weren't for Luffy being the paper to Enel's rock, there's no telling how far Enel would make it. Moving on to number 4, it's Luffy versus Usopp. This is one of the emotionally heavy fights in the show, a confrontation between friends over the fate of their ship Merry. After the myriad of adventures they've had, Merry's taken a beating. While Usopp has tried his best, their trusty ship just can't take them any further. While Luffy is ready to make the hard decision as captain to find a new ship for their journey, Usopp sees this as a cold-hearted decision of abandoning a friend, which Merry truly is to all of them. Now this conflict boils over with Usopp covered in bandages against his captain. Usopp is arguably the weakest of the Straw Hats, but he surprises everyone with how much of a fight he puts up. While Luffy's stronger without a question, Usopp manages to outsmart him on multiple occasions, but no amounts of smarts Usopp brings are enough. He can't stop Luffy's sheer endurance and strength. At number 3, it's Luffy versus Doflamingo. It's been 15 years since we were introduced to Dolphy as a villain, and after that we finally get this fight. Doflamingo was the king of the underworld in the One Piece world, thanks to his cleverness and his string fruit that allow him to create and manipulate strings. This fight was a climax of an arc that gave us so much. Straw Hat and Law cooperated, we saw Gear Forth, and the end of one of the strongest villains the One Piece world has to offer.
なで一緒に帰るぞルフィ。当たり前だ。
Number 2 on the list is Luffy vs Lucci. Rob Lucci is the leader of CP9 and the main antagonist of the Water 7 arc. Cypherpol is a part of the world government that's in charge of intelligence gathering. They're the CIA of the One Piece world, and CP9's a special subdivision of Cypherpol in charge of assassinations. Given the elite status of this division, that kind of explains how strong Rob Lucci is. When he first appeared, Lucci defeated both Luffy and Zoro. The CP9 and Rob Lucci were such a big threat that in order to defeat them, Luffy had to develop both Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd all in an arc. And finally, at number 1, it's Luffy vs Katakuri. Katakuri holds one of the largest bounties that we know of at 1 billion berries. He's eaten the mochi mochi fruit that allows him to create, control, and transform into mochi. His abilities are similar to Luffy, but only more powerful in every regard. Katakuri's most powerful ability is Observation Haki, which he's trained to such a degree that he can slightly see into the future. Luffy recognizes that Katakuri is better than him in every way, but in order to protect his friends, he challenges him and defeats him. During the fight, both of them begin to respect each other and develop as a person and fighter. This for many has been the most amazing fight One Piece has ever had, especially in the anime, which had some of the best animation we've seen from Toei Animation. Well, that's it from this list. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to comment below with your favorite fight from the series. Subscribe if you want to see more anime-related videos, and hopefully I can make more One Piece-related content without getting copyright struck by Toei. I'll see you next time on ViniiTube.